Hello again, train fans. John Bellucci here at his work table. Again, with another insane project. Today, I'm going to be removing the traction tire from the rear drive wheel, right here, of my Broadway Limited J-1e Hudson locomotive. And I've already, this will be done on the engineer's side. I've already removed the traction tire from the fireman's side in preparation for doing this whole thing. Now, I have the traction tire that was removed from the other rear drive wheel right here, and you can see this is well stretched out compared to the new one that comes with the locomotive. See right there. Okay, quite a difference. It is stretched out and it is thinned. It has actually been thinned down, the rubber. This is an older locomotive model, so you don't want to continue to try and operate a large consist with these thinned drivers right here. Now, when I received this locomotive, I received it with two of these new traction tires and a wrench. The wrench is used to remove the bolt that holds the drive shaft, the drive rod, to the driver wheel. You receive the wrench and two traction tires. Now I have to be careful on this side because I did some additional detailing to this side of the locomotive. I added the cam box, and beneath it we have the friction wheel, which connects to some rods which go into the cab, and that connects to the loco valve pilot, which was essentially the black box of its day for steam locomotives. So some of the tools I'm going to be using today are, I have two different sizes of very small screwdrivers. You can see right here, okay? I'm also going to employ, whenever possible and where needed, a couple of clay modeling tools. There's a paddle-ended tool, and this is more of a spatula type tool. And I actually tried this the other night and was able to lift the tire away from the rim. And that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be removing the tire from the rim. I also have a couple of tweezers. I have a little makeup type tweezers and the long forceps. This is for removing little pieces of dust or hair that I find on the locomotive as I have it in this upside down position. We have cats, so there's plenty of cat hair. I'm a taxidermist, there's always all kind of deer hair around, and it just seems to get caught on the locomotive. Also, I have some pliers to help along the way. I have this bent needle nose pliers, small pliers. I have some other small needle nose pliers as well to help pull this from its position. And I have a regulation size flathead screwdriver to assist me anyway, where and when I would need it. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of plastic under the locomotive to rest between the shell, which has been finished and weathered and whatnot, and I want to protect that. I don't want the towel, soft as this towel is, I don't want it rubbing against the paint during this operation. So I'm going to lay a piece of plastic underneath the locomotive. I have that plastic right here. And it's going to be a simple matter of lifting the locomotive out of the foam egg crate cradle. I have my old foam egg crate cradle here. And I'm going to put the plastic around it, lift it, and lower it back into place. Now I can manipulate the locomotive around without worrying about rubbing the paint off of the structure of the locomotive, the paint that I painstakingly applied and then weathered. I've got some hair here on certain parts. The reason we're upside down now is quite simple. I'm going to remove this bottom substructure, which is part of the brake arrangement. And I'm going to get my screwdriver underneath and gently pry up. These are just pins that go into sockets on the bottom. You want to be careful here at the back. And that's how you know this is the back end. This end here goes around this screw that holds the trailing truck in place. Now I'm going to remove this. And that's all this is, a little plastic, okay? And you can see the little holes that the pins go into here. All right, I'm going to put that aside carefully. I don't want to lose it. I'm going to pick off some little hairs that I see. Now, there are two ways to go with this. I can unscrew on the little Phillips head screws that you see here and here and lift this entire base cover off. That would remove the brake shoes that you can see right here, okay? Now these are fairly flexible. These flex. They do flex. They flexed a few days ago. There. They move a little bit. So you've got some flexibility here. Unless it's absolutely necessary, I will not be removing the bottom plate. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to start removing the traction tire from the wheel. And we've lifted it. As you can see, it's been lifted. And now I pushed it back in with my big fat fingers. Let's go with this very slowly again. Well, okay. Now it's away. Now it just plain broke off. All right. Well, with one end, like I say, this is worn. That's how thin this was. I will now take the little screwdriver and push, gently push against the brake pad, pushing it away from the driver wheel, pulling it away as I lift the tire up past the brake pad and around. Now, at this point, I'm going to take the little wrench. Whoops! Let's have some good light here. Oh, let's tighten up the light bulb. That helps. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, now we'll use the little wrench to remove our friendly little bolt, and then using the forceps or the long pliers, going to gently ease that bolt out. There's the bolt right here. Okay. I'm going to put it aside on the white towel so I can see it when I need it. Now I will move the drive rod out of the way. Let's do this carefully. Use a little screwdriver. Well, this is not helping any. Use the little screwdriver and move this out of the way, like so. Now I will continue to pull this tire off the wheel and past the brake pad. Now this one was so thin it broke, and it has many, many thin and worn places. In fact, the surface actually has cracks in it. Okay, now that that's done, let us proceed. Taking the new one from the packet. Here's where it gets crazy. You need to get this over one end, like so. And I found the best way to do it is to get it between the brake pad and the wheel. So I just simply press down a bit on the tire, getting it between the wheel and the brake shoe. Let's try the back side first. Like I say, I also have to be aware of these wires here. They're very thin, can be very fragile if I bang against them too hard. I'm going to try this with 2 screwdrivers. I'm going to pull the brake shoe back and press the tire down in between. Okay, I was able to go ahead and get this. Unfortunately, I went and did it off screen. Sorry. What I did was I pulled away the brake pad, the brake shoe just a little, and with the spade end modeling tool, I was able to work the rubber tire down in between. Now, to take it across and do it to against the opposite brake shoe is the thing. Okay, well, unfortunately in this process I broke the little brake shoe off of its base. As you can see right, as you can see right there. Okay, there it is, it fell through. I did get the tire on, but at a slight cost. I'm also going to have to retouch the paint on this right here. Now, the thing is, I can see where the brake pad came off. It broke off right here. Okay, now seeing as how this is actually plastic, and a soft plastic at that, methinks this can be repaired. Yeah, this can be repaired. That's about it right there. Oops. Okay, I think what I'll do, I'm going to eventually pin this back in place. Because I don't think glue alone is going to hold it. It's a very, very bad brake. It's on an angle and such, and it's not going to lend itself well to just being glued down, I don't think. So what I'll do is I'm going to make a pin. I'm going to use my pin vise with a really fine drill bit, drill up into here, and then drill down into the structure of the base of it to put it back in place properly. In the meantime, I'm going to put the little piece in the bag that the traction tire came in. Now, this is not going to affect the performance of the vehicle, of the locomotive, but it's just something that happened, and I'm not real pleased that it did happen. Not pleased at all. But stuff happens. Now we want to align this right in place. I'm going to take the little forceps, or the angled forceps, and pick up the bolt. Help set it in place. Really, the first one I did had no trouble like this. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Okay. Undo this and do it back in. Okay, we're going to put this into the drive rod. Into the hole of the drive rod like so. Now, we're going to put the wrench over the nut while I manipulate the drive rod into position. I need a little extra light here. We finally have it in place. Okay. And I just need to tighten this up. And it will only tighten down so far. Very good. Now, the broken brake shoe will be put on at another time. I'm not going to worry about covering that on camera right now. The main thing was getting this traction tire in place. Now, the other thing you need to do, once it's on, is to make sure that none of it is twisted around the wheels. So we need to go along, and I can see right here, she's got a little bit of a twist. I need to work that flat. Otherwise, the thing will, see, there's a groove that runs around that it actually sits in. So you just need to check that all around. Make sure there are no high spots. Otherwise, it will run around the track with a wobbling fashion as if it had a flat. And that's not what you want. All right, so the new traction tire is on. I'm going to need to retouch all this paint that got scratched off. That's the only problem with working on a vehicle on a project that has already been weathered and painted and all. That's why the plastic is between the locomotive and the towel. Now the last thing to do is to replace, whoops, this bottom structure right here. So we're going to turn the big boy, actually the Hudson, it's not a big boy. We're going to turn my big boy back upside down, keeping the pin on the tender intact, and we need to just pull that hair off of there. Place this back into place. Make sure that the pins are going into the little holes, the sockets for them, and like so, and like backs are in. Okay, there's those right there, nice and tight. These go in nice and tight. Press them in firm. Make sure they're in firm contact with their sockets and the base. Turn this bad boy back up like so. And we're going to get them on the track. Okay, here we go, little test. Let the conductor sound his announcements. Very good. Bell. And we're going forward. This is just 3 speed steps. It's good, no wobbling. No wobbling, no squabbling. The wheels are properly on the rails. Moving along nice. Throw it into reverse. Smooth running. Smooth. Without sound. No scraping sounds, no nothing. He's good. So there we have the new traction wheels on the old Broadway Limited New York Central J-1e Hudson. I think that's about all I'm going to do to this guy as far as anything major like that. The next thing is simply to detail the areas which would have the water and air hoses, and that would be the air hose and water hose connections right here, going from the tender to the locomotive and back again. There'll be some electrical cables I can hook up, and I have all those little parts, and I'll be adding those in the future, just for myself, to make them look that much more realistic in HO scale. I have some painting to touch up, true, but overall I'm pretty pleased. So from the work table to your table, adios amigos.